Viewers for tuning into ZBC TV. You are watching yet another exciting edition of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. And I'm your host, Wadzanai Manyore. So this is a platform where we seek to rectify the business issues in the Zimbabwean agriculture industry. And today with me, I'm joined by a product support specialist from Agricon Case, Zimbabwe. Francois, it's always a pleasure having you with us.
And thank you for having me.
Just as the first question, what is the relationship between precision agriculture and conservation agriculture?
I think we've got to start from the conservation aspect first, because conservation is now a system or practice that you're going to be applying or implementing into your farming practice.
Absolutely.
The ideals behind conservation practices is, number one, you want to retain your soil. Soil retention is one of the key things to creating a future for your farming operation.
True.
Second part of that is to build up the quality of your soil. And that is done through organic retention, organic incorporation. Spin-off from keeping the organic structure at a higher level is that now we can start controlling moisture loss.
Yes.
It prevents evaporation, things like that. Same thing with the organic structure, also helps bind the soil so we get less wind erosion, less water erosion. Therefore, we could go back to step one to retain the soil conditions.
Okay.
With all that organic structure available, we're creating now water channels for water infiltration, which means nutrient infiltration. And also once the organics start blending itself with the soil, we start getting a lot of microbial action, which is releasing nutrients back into the soil and making it available for the plants to utilize.
Okay.
That's the aspect of conservation practices. Now getting into precision side of it. Precision is using site management with the amount of inputs that we can gather through what they term big data.
Okay, data.
Big data is obtained from satellite imagery, soil sampling, yield mapping from combines, for example. We put all this information back together and we can now start creating programs or platforms that we can start implementing into our soils, and therefore getting back into the conservation side of it.
Yes. Thank you for that. So just making a follow-up on what you were saying, what are some of the basic principles every Zimbabwean farmer or many farmers across the breadth of the country should know about conservation agriculture in order to align it to precision agriculture? The basic principles.
So if you were to look at a step-by-step process for conservation, as I said, number one, soil and water retention. Those are some things that go hand in hand.
Yes.
You're wanting to maintain the sustainability of your soils for future farming.
Yes.
Second thing is management of the soil types, management of your inputs onto those soils.
Okay.
Certain soil types need different kind of management, and that's understanding on how each system will work with the type of inputs that are available to you. Blended to that is now looking at a precision side where we're going to start applying different types of practices in our soils. For example, different type of tillage practices, different types of planting, minimum till, no-till planting. All these are all aspects that we need to apply into the soil to blend back into conservation. So the ideas behind conservation practices is that we need to set a few steps that we're going to maintain and then blend available equipment into how we're going to keep those steps functioning on the farm.
Okay. Just making a follow-up on what you've alluded to, what could be those steps, those key steps that you think we should maintain, the Zimbabwean farmer should maintain?
Okay, so step one, organic structure. Retain your residue.
Okay.
That will control evaporation, moisture loss.
That's true.
That will control erosion. Okay. Step two is control your traffic on your lands.
Okay.
Traffic is a big thing. People don't think about what it can do, but that can start causing compaction.
Okay.
Compaction means we need to get aggressive again and start a ripping action to break up this compaction.
That's true.
So organics also help alleviate compaction. If you've got a nice organic structure, that means the impact of weight on your field doesn't get into the subsoil, creating those compaction zones.
Okay.
Nutrients, crop rotation, things like that are key aspects to conservation practices. I would say crop rotation is probably one of the highest and most underutilized method of crop rotation for sustainability.
Okay.
Because when you start looking at crop rotation, we are changing the types of insects that attack the crop.
That's true.
So we're not giving them a chance to build up and breed to a stage where they become destructive.
Okay.
Also the funguses and all the parasites, things that we are building up in our soils by doing monoculture, we are alleviating by doing crop rotation with different crops. So a cereal crop followed by a legume crop, for example. We're changing the chemical regime in that soil that we're using, the chemical application that we're using to control those crops to a different pattern. So we're not always using the same types of chemical, creating the same kind of resistance.
Okay.
So crop rotation is key to part of the conservation practice.
Now, as we round up this first segment, just maybe in a few seconds, less than a minute, can you maybe tell us the importance of aligning conservation agriculture with precision agriculture?
One of the things we mentioned just now was big data.
Okay.
We've got a lot of platforms that can offer us information on how our crops are doing and what is coming off the field, and to try and improve productivity, because obviously the less inputs we put for the higher yield, the better the profitability is. So one of the things that help align us is using information like satellite imagery, drone imagery, yield maps from combine harvesters, historical information, and putting those into usable information that can go through machines like spreaders, planters, sprayers, so we can apply the chemicals in the right values, the right amounts to the fields to get the right yields out of our inputs.
Okay, thank you. And on that note, viewers, we're going to go on a short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers, to the second segment of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. And today I'm with a product support specialist from Agricon case, Francois. Now, Francois, coming back to you, earlier on we were talking of the importance of aligning conservation agriculture with precision agriculture. Now, just maybe moving forward a bit from that, equipment, what kind of equipment do you have at Agricon, which is supporting the call of Zimbabwean farmers to sort of like get into conservation agriculture in terms of maybe your tillage equipment? What is it that you have at Agricon?
Okay, Agricon, we're quite fortunate to have a very big access to a large range of equipment. So we really got in our suppliers a huge range of equipment that can cover all aspects of conventional, min-till and no-till operations.
That's true.
So something that we're going to look at that lends its way into conservation tillage or conservation practices is things like strip tills. We've got strip till machines that just prepare a small strip in the field where the planter can go directly into that strip without having to turn the soil over across the whole field. This reduces costs in fuel, it reduces costs in time. So there's practices that are there to help minimize the impact on the soil. We've got things like no-till rippers. These rippers work only subsoil, they leave very little soil disturbance on the surface, maintaining that residue on the surface for controlling moisture loss. And organic structure. We don't have to turn that in. We can just work under the soil and maintain the surface of the soil. We've got minimum till planters. We've got no-till planters. Both of these have their role in the industry. The no-till planters, those are direct seeders. They go directly through residue into the soil, and essentially they are a smaller version of a strip till unit. They'll create their own soil seedbed and place the seed into those lines. Getting onto other types of equipment, input equipment, we've got spreaders and sprayers. These are all aligned with electronic control systems. These control systems can control how, where, and how it applies. For example, fertilizer spreaders valves can control application rates on two sides of the machine. So I can put 100 kg of fertilizer on this side of the machine, and through a prescription map I can put 120 kg, 140, 150 kg on that side of the machine. So it allows us to split applications, it allows us to do variable rate according to what our data is giving us through prescription mapping.
Now just Francois, out of interest, I'd like to know what type of farmers in Zimbabwe, or the amount of farmers are actually adopting this kind of machinery that is being availed at Agricon in Zimbabwe, and Zimbabwean perspective?
What has been, I would say, a fortunate spin-off from the way agriculture's evolved in Zimbabwe over the last 15, 20 years.
Okay.
Is that agriculture, there's more emphasis on agriculture now. So the development into agriculture has been a certain stage for many years, and then now when farmers are now getting back into doing larger scale and small scale operations, the access to equipment is allowing us to go straight into modern type of equipment.
Okay.
So we are getting customers now that are, instead of buying an old school type machine, they're just going straight to what's currently available and currently is lending itself to conservation and precision agriculture.
Okay.
So what we're seeing, a lot of guys are starting to invest into soil management systems through their equipment.
That's true.
Application management systems through their equipment.
Okay.
Yield management systems through their equipment.
Okay.
So that step is already there. It's nothing we don't have to reinvent. But it's there, and that's what's nice about the way things have evolved, is that we don't have to do a lot of homework. This is done before in a lot of other countries.
Okay.
We can now just show people how to apply that.
Okay. Thank you for that. Now, maybe moving forward a bit, I would like our viewers there at home to really grasp the concept behind the advantages or the benefits that come with them practicing conservation agriculture. Definitely earlier on you alluded to the fact of moisture conservation, maintenance of the soil structure. What are some of the advantages, the benefits that are available to a Zimbabwean farmer who's going to embark on conservation agriculture?
I think the first thing is investing in your soil means you're investing for the future.
That's true.
To invest in soil, it's not an overnight operation.
That's true.
It means you've got to build up certain things in your soil over time.
Okay.
And some of these levels you only achieve in year 5 or year 10.
Okay.
Okay, so it's a long-term investment, and that's what people have got to be prepared for. But the benefits that you get away from doing, that you get out of looking at a conservation practice, is one of the things is your fuel inputs.
Okay.
Doing less land preparation means you've got less bigger equipment, or less equipment running more the time, most of the time.
So it's cost reduction.
It's cost reduction.
Oh,
The other
okay.
side of it is by building up your organics, by building up your soil structure, you're now facilitating water infiltration.
That's true.
Okay. With example, we're having a dry year looming ahead of us.
Yes.
Any rain you want, you don't want it to run off and go into the river stream or down to the bottom of the field. You want it to go into your root zone.
Straight to the roots of the
And
crop.
by building up organic structures and water channels through these organic structures and through root formations, we're able to bring that water down into a zone that is utilized in the plant.
That's true.
As well as with nutrients, they follow the same trail as what the water does, and the water is often the mode of transport for these nutrients.
Okay.
Building up organics means we're building up our microbial action in the soil. That is now starting to release nitrogens, for example. Building up the soils. End of the day, we're going to be using less inputs.
That's true.
Less requirement for fertilizer. A figure I was given a few years ago from Brazil.
Okay.
Brazil are using 70% less fertilizer today than they were 25 years ago.
Okay.
And that's just through soil management, conservation practices.
Okay.
So we can have a big reduction in the use of things like nitrogen, which over nitrogen can cause a big issue with environmental issues.
Okay.
So we've got to look at trying to apply this into our operations.
Okay. And on that note, viewers, of cost reduction using precision agriculture and conservation agriculture, we're just going to go on a short commercial break. We'll be right back with the third and final segment of your program. Stay tuned. Welcome back, viewers, to the third and final segment of your program, Agricultural New Directions, Agri-Business. And I'm your host, Wadzanai Manyore. So we've taken the liberty of inviting Francois, a product support specialist from Agricon case right here in Zimbabwe. Now, earlier on, Francois, we're talking of the importance, the benefits of aligning conservation agriculture with precision agriculture. Just out of interest sake, our viewers might want to know, how effective are your tools and your equipment that you are producing at Agricon? How are they effective in conservation agriculture?
One of the key aspects is inputs.
Okay.
Your field inputs, your chemical inputs, your fertilizer inputs. And these have a direct bearing on yield down the line. So with utilization of things like precision mapping, where we
Okay.
can control the rates as per what the soil needs in the field. For example, a section of the field could be requiring 200 kgs of nitrogen, and another section of the field could only be requiring 50 kgs of nitrogen. Traditional methods would go with a spreader that could just do one rate, and we apply the 200 kgs a hectare across the whole field. But what we can do now is that we can apply what the soil is needing at the particular point in the field.
Okay.
So with our spreaders, for example, they do variable rate according to application. So we can drive and we can put 50 kgs in an area and then move it up to 300 kgs in that area and apply a variable rate across the field. Though we are not trying to save on the total use of fertilizer, we're trying to apply it correctly in the field to the plants that need it at the right time.
That's true.
And that's where we're getting more precise with the way our equipment is working.
Okay.
Our sprayers can do the same things. They can do variable rate application. They can do section control, so you're not over spraying zones that you've already sprayed before. They switch themselves off automatically. So we've got a lot of control factors in how we are applying the inputs into the soils. And getting back to the tillage side is we're creating a tillage zone that is facilitating the infiltration of these chemicals or the infiltration of this fertilizer or these nutrients into the soils.
Okay.
And that's where we're getting the most use out of what our inputs that are going into the field.
Yes. Now, in this segment, Francois, you are alluding to the fact of cost effectiveness, which is very important given our prevailing economic conditions in Zimbabwe. You need to govern the resources that you have at your farm so that you produce more with less. Now, moving forward a bit, what are the advantages, Francois, of moving away from our traditional methods of production to precision agriculture, aligning it to conservation agriculture?
I think the fundamental key aspect that everyone is looking at is, can I produce X amount of tons for the least amount of inputs?
That's true.
Everyone's trying to look at cost reduction and trying to produce a crop cheaper, so if the prices do drop, we can still be competitive in the market with selling our crop.
Okay.
So something that aligns all this together is applying through equipment that can be more productive. For example, traditional fertilizer spreader would be working at 10 or 12 meters spreading widths. So you're doing a lot of traffic through your field, causing compaction, because you've got a lot of row spacings in your field.
Okay.
Whereas more modern machines are spreading much wider. We've got machines that spread up to 50 odd meters.
Okay.
It means that we're doing less traffic in the field, we're covering more hectares per day.
Okay.
So our biggest spreaders range from 250 hectares a day up to 300 hectares a day application, where old traditional spreaders were doing 50 hectares a day.
Okay.
So we can get inputs down quicker, which means another aspect that we can split our fertilization up. For example, if we've got to apply 500 kgs of fertilizer onto this field for the season, we can do 150 kg application earlier in the season, we can split it with 100 kg application later in the season, and then split it out to another 3 or 4 applications before the crop is too big to spread. So we can facilitate more nutrients going in at the right time instead of overdosing the nutrient application, which can cause chemical burn, which can cause chemical compaction. Chemical compaction is basically creating a layer that's the roots won't go through.
Impenetrable by the roots.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, Francois, as we round up this segment, this program, what is your word of advice to the Zimbabwean farmers in terms of adapting conservation agriculture and aligning it to precision agriculture? I understand that maybe our economic conditions might not be very conducive for most of our farmers, but just your word of advice, irregardless of that.
There's two aspects to look at with regard to our economic situation.
Okay.
You're wanting to go more into conservation practice when you've got more pressure from economics.
That's true.
Because you're going to save money on your inputs and the equipment, etc., etc. But there's always a level of investment.
Okay.
And part of the investment is to invest in your soil, as we discussed, and part of the investment to invest in equipment.
Okay.
Word of advice is decide what system is going to suit your farming area, soil types, water availability, etc., etc. Be it a minimum till operation, be it a full conventional operation, or be it a no-till or conservation practice that you're looking at. So do your homework on what's going to suit your area. We can't apply everything into every area. That's an understanding we need to get to.
Yes.
Once you've got that, utilize local departments, government departments. You've got agronomists available.
That's true.
They've got people that can come on site and evaluate and give you some ideas, give you some assessments. Bring your equipment suppliers and their support specialists into this situation at the same time, because not everyone is exposed to what range of equipment is out there, what methods are out there. So if we can try and pool all our information together to make the most informed decision, so we can get the right application done for the farmer for his conditions.
Okay. Now, Francois, we've come to the end of our program. Maybe our farmers out there or the farming community, various stakeholders might want to get in touch with you. Can you maybe just say your modes of contact, phone number, WhatsApp platform, email, etc.?
Okay, so we've got a Facebook page, which is quite an active page, and
Okay.
on that page is our full list of contact details.
Okay.
We are at agricon.net,
Okay.
so all our information is based on our Facebook page.
There, viewers, you heard it. This was a very informative and educative program, which we were talking of conservation agriculture with a product support specialist from Agricon Case, Zimbabwe. So now, from me, your host Wadzanai Manyore, and the crew behind the scenes, have yourselves a fabulous evening.